Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, the podcast where we talk about pop culture things that interest us, and sometimes there is whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined as always by Andrea. How's it going?
Good, good. Happy Friday.
Yeah, it is.
TGIF.
Um, Fridays still don't have any meaning to me, but I appreciate them
It's
for everyone else.
just
It's
your weekly reminder that it is Friday. Just reset yourself. It's okay.
yep, yep, yep. Well, yeah, thank you everybody for joining us here tonight. We're live on YouTube, Kick, and Twitch. Hopefully soon on X again. I tried getting that in a little bit of time today worked out. I think we're waiting for our blue check mark, and then I'm hoping it works. So
Awesome.
we'll see. Um, that's a reminder. Make sure you like, share, subscribe in all the places. Wherever you want to find us, we'll be on podcast directories later. All that sort of thing, reviews, it's much appreciated and helps us. If you feel really helpful, go ahead and give us like contribute on Spotify, and that'll pay for our Restream account and X Premium and all that sort of thing. So yes.
Do
All
some
right.
other
Without
interacting. We love to get comments, likes, shares, whatever.
yeah.
What should we talk about? What are we utterly right or wrong, I suppose, maybe about?
Yeah, on the off chance, every
Right,
once in a while,
right. I guess it has to happen.
clock strikes, 12 twice a
Exactly.
day or whatever.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Yeah, what is
six
that? Like a broken clock is
a
right
clock is
still
right
right
twice a
twice a
day.
day. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
here
yeah,
we
yeah.
go.
But tonight we're going to be talking about the Penguin. Hopefully,
Mhm,
something that's getting it right. We've got episodes 3 through 5. It's the
mhm.
Max series, and yeah, we'll have spoilers about that. Hope you've been watching along with us. We'll cover these, and then after this is just I think 3 episodes left, so we're moving along,
Yeah,
and yeah. So that'll be the main topic. Before that, we'll have our weeks, what we've been up to a little bit, and drink holidays. What we should be imbibing in or on this Friday.
yes, yes, there's quite a few to choose from, some kind of more quote unquote "normal" and some, a little bit off the wall, which is a joke y'all get later. Um, so for the end of, October 25th, it was National Champagne Day. Um, I I forgot to put this in my kind of how my week's been, but I've been rewatching Ted Lasso to finally gear up and
Mm,
finish that freaking third season that everybody I think
okay.
kind of wishes didn't exist, but I still need to see it. And I was
Okay.
struck by how much they either drink champagne or beer on that show. There's like
Hmm.
almost nothing else going on. So I thought
Well,
about National Champagne Day.
I suppose they're in the pub, which is a fun time in that pub,
Right. Right.
or it's boss lady probably right popping.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
Rebecca's usually, like, celebrating something or, they're out at, like, a special occasion, a gala, a dinner, she's
Yeah.
yeah, popping a glass of champagne, so
I
yeah.
I don't know if I shared with this with you or not, but did you see that I didn't realize she's the actress in Game of Thrones
Yeah!
that does
Yeah!
Shame,
Shame.
Shame, Shame.
I
I had
know, I
no
know.
idea
Yes.
until
I mean,
just the other day.
I didn't connect the dots, right away, and then I think it was later somebody, like, posted a meme of that, and I was like, "Oh, girl!"
Yeah,
Like, so different.
crazy, crazy.
So, yeah,
She's
2
talented.
very different roles, obviously memorable for very different reasons in both.
Yeah. Mhm.
And, really shows some range there because those 2 characters are, quite opposite
Yeah,
in look, in demeanor, in how long they're on screen. So,
yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, if you are part of the Lasso universe, you could have some champagne on the 25th or the 27th, National American Beer Day, raise a glass for good old Ted. That
Yeah.
was that was your day a little bit ago. Otherwise, this one I feel like is a new one because I truly don't remember seeing it or um, saying it last year or the years before. But kicking off November, November 4th through the 10th. So this week is World Sherry Week. Have you
Okay.
had sherry other than to cook with?
Yeah, I have to imagine that I have, but I
Okay,
could not point to a moment. I mean,
sure.
and as you're saying this, I was thinking I should get a bottle because I need an excuse to get some sherry glasses,
There you
and,
go.
it just yeah, I don't really wouldn't know what to say about it, Very
Mm,
unexperienced with sherry. I feel like that
yeah,
was, Frasier's drink of choice often. I'll have a
sherry.
little
Yes, a good
sherry.
sherry.
Yeah,
Yep.
so mhm.
That I love that you did that callback. I haven't thought about that show in a long time.
When the kids were tiny and were up very late,
Yes.
Frasier was a thing often that yeah.
Yes. I remember you saying that, and I know Phil had done a rewatch of it not too long ago. And it was
Mhm.
funny today on TV, I was flipping through channels and the first season of Beverly Hills was on and Kelsey
Oh.
Grammer popped up in an episode and I was like, "Oh
Oh,
my
yeah,
gosh."
that's right. I
Yeah.
forgot he was yeah.
Yeah, Camille was on
I
the first season. Yep.
just remembered because you said that, the Housewives of Dubai. I totally forgot that Ashley and I had started that, so
Well, there you
well,
go.
maybe I have to dip back into that.
You
Yeah.
should, you should. Um, yeah, so it is still you still have time. It is still World Cherry Week for another couple of
Okay.
days. So go get yourself some, get some nice glasses to go with it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yesterday it was both International Stout Day, so that should make Ashley's day, or International Merlot Day. And
Cool.
today we finally get to my joke. It is Harvey Wallbanger Day,
Yeah.
which
And
I think
then
I've made in my life like once in real life, but I made it, God, I want to say at least like 20 times in bartending school. Like that was one of
mm,
the things that we had to learn how to make by memory.
interesting. Okay.
And yeah, I made it once in the real world.
Must have been in trend at the time when you were
Must have
learning,
been.
and then
Well,
the
and
last
they had like a
person.
they had a roster of like what was considered classic cocktails and then also like I think a couple of things to like practice the same skill. So like pink squirrels and grasshoppers, I really didn't get a whole lot of call for those, but I had to practice them a lot to just like make blended drinks, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I think it was just like to have at least, some general knowledge in that area of what it should come out like. That way if people ask you for stuff, you can be like, "Okay, figure it out."
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Because I've never seen. I don't recall ever seeing a Harvey Wallbanger on a menu. Often a restaurant has a classics list, and it's
Yes. Mhm.
sidecars, Manhattans, that's a
Mhm.
that sort of thing. Um, yeah, I wouldn't know
Yeah.
it first thing about it. So,
Well, it's part of what makes it is it's got like a special type of liqueur, Galliano, and it's just not something that's in many things.
I have
So,
that. I think.
well, make yourself a Harvey then.
Yeah. Right.
Because
Okay.
yeah, it's something that's you generally wouldn't stock. It doesn't appear at a lot of things and like I don't think a lot of people know about it, so there's no call. So really, you I mean, there's no point in offering because you'd have this like bottle sitting there.
Yeah. Hmm. I feel like. Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe next time.
You should, yeah. That'd be funny.
Mm.
Since you do you remember why you have it?
Yeah, well, it's for a cocktail in my Gotham cocktail book.
I was just gonna say in
So,
your
yeah,
Batman, yeah. We
yeah, yep. It's been a
Oh,
while since
man.
I've gone back to that too.
Yes. Well, tonight would have been a perfect night, but luckily I think we've got at least 2 more Penguin episodes in us.
Yeah, I think for
So,
the finale, maybe there's gotta be a night. I'm sure there's an Iceberg Lounge penguin cocktail
yes.
in there. So, yeah.
Yes, you must.
Mhm.
Text me what it is so I can, see if I can do it too.
Okay, cool. Yep.
But yeah. That is
Alright. Well,
everything.
are you celebrating any of these things?
I am, and I'm gonna show you very carefully because I'm doing it in
Okay.
homage to one of the episodes tonight.
Mm.
It's like the fullest
Whoa,
glass of
yes.
wine ever poured in honor of Sophia and her crazy ass pour at dinner time. So,
Nice.
ye
So you got Merlot there then?
mhm, I do
Nice.
indeed, cheers. Also, I have to say, um, it is in we have red wine glasses, which are bigger, and white wine glasses, which are smaller. This is in a white wine glass because I wasn't about to fill my red wine glass
Sure.
to the brim. I wouldn't even finish the episode. I'd just be like, "Holy shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotta take a nap."
Well,
So
I'll keep us going if you ever get a little loosey
get
goosey, we'll keep
a
us
little
going.
sloppy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought, this seems perfect. They're always, obviously drinking wine and Penguin, and I giggled out loud when she just was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
So, I thought I'd do the same.
Nice. Well, I got back from the gym tonight and I really been a little bit sick, and so I didn't like prepare any sort of cocktail, but I might be compelled to open up. I finally got a new tequila. Been
Ooh, that looks pretty.
Yeah, I've
3
been out of tequila
generations.
for hot minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
generaciones. Tequila plata. So it's yeah, I don't know. I know nothing about it. I just kind of go by, get a general price, look at where, its origin is from.
Mhm.
Sometimes if a bottle's a little too crazy, I'm like, maybe I'm
Sure.
paying a bit for that.
Sure.
And just like to, try new stuff. So, this is made in Jalisco, Mexico, and yeah, I'll probably have to have a little pour of that, I suppose. So,
Yes.
if someone twists my arm, just
Twisty, twisty.
yeah. All right. Well, while I
There you go.
clumsily open this, why don't you let us know what your week's been like? What you been watching?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of forgot that I'd rewatched some Ted Lasso. I saw, a good reel, and it just sort of reignited like, hey, that was an awesome show and I never freaking finished. I've been hanging on to this Apple TV subscription so that I could start the 3rd season.
There's a lot of good-looking shows on there though. So
Oh, I
people
know, I
really like
know.
Slow Horses.
Yep,
Silo
I've
is
seen
supposed to
that.
be good.
I
I
know.
don't know how Sugar is, but Sugar looks good with Colin Farrell.
Isn't
Um,
Severance coming back too? There's like a new
Severance,
season.
yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
Also, I love like almost nearly every single show we just mentioned starts with the letter S. I don't know what that is, but just saying.
Yeah. Well, there's a movie too. There's a couple movies. One is with I think Jake Gyllenhaal, sort of like he's a lawyer. No, he's a lawyer or a juror, and he's
Yeah.
implicated in something that he's a part
Yes.
of, or something like that. That
Yep.
looks good. Oh, and then oh my god, the guy from that did Prisoner of Azkaban and like Zero Gravity and Children of Men, Alfonso Cuarón, he
Oh,
has a
yeah.
movie on there as well that has Calvin Klein and very famous actress. So there's some big stuff on there that I would like to
Okay.
eventually get to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. But yes, I agree. There's a lot of different things on here that I either forgot I was interested in, or like there are new things that I'm like, oh man, like I do really want to check that out. So I might have to keep Apple TV Plus, but it definitely for a while there was like I literally had it just so I could eventually finish Ted Lasso.
Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that is a part of what I've been watching. Otherwise it's been pretty sparse. I finally after finishing Halloween Wars turned my attention to the Great British Baking Show. So I am there in a happy place.
Mhm.
And then Before I got to that, though, I was still, like, in the Halloween mindset and was watching, another Johnny Depp classic, Sleepy Hollow, because that's
Oh,
such a good
okay.
movie.
I was thinking this was your show again or something.
No, no, I did go back to that and watch one more episode, and I do really like it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I just finished up the Johnny Depp movie and was just, like, thinking about that because we had watched, From Hell, so
Yeah, right. I typically like to watch that, just didn't get there this year. That's okay, having a
sure,
break from it or whatever. So,
sure.
yeah,
Everett really
right.
right now is also into, like, old school Scooby Doo. Like,
Oh,
she really, for Halloween, wanted to watch something scary,
uh-huh.
and so we were like, "Okay, well, what's gonna be, like, scary but not scary?"
Yeah.
Um, because she is 3 and a half. Like,
Yep.
I know my dad showed me Aliens when I was, like, 8, but, 3 and a half might be
Still
pushing it.
feel years. Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so yeah, so Chris tried Goosebumps at first, and she didn't like that it was, like, real life
Yeah,
yet.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
were like,
Mhm.
"Okay, like, let's go back to a cartoon," and I thought, like, Scooby-Doo, like, that's mysteries, but, like, a talking dog, like, that'll be good. So she's really into that right now.
Okay.
So we watched, like, a couple episodes, and she thought it was fun and, like, scary.
Yeah, nice. No, we tried Scooby Doo because too young for it yet. Didn't care.
Yeah. Yep, I get it.
Yep.
Cora could have cared less. She was, like, entranced for, like, 5 seconds, and then she was like, "Let me climb
Yeah,
on your chest. Let me roll
yeah.
around. I want off the couch. I want on the couch." Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm. Well, very cool. I did a few more Halloweeny things. I watched Coppola's Dracula.
Oh,
That's
that's such a good one.
yeah, it's a go-to for me as well. Like it has its
Is.
faults, but I just the environment. You, you
Yeah.
know me, if they can
Very old
create
men.
yes, yep. There's a
But
lot
yes.
great about the cast, really.
But yes.
But
The environment too, for sure.
yeah, so I have fun with it. That was good. Kind of watch it in some pieces at night or whatever because I'm very used to seeing it.
Mhm.
And then sticking on the Dracula theme, I've finished my Dracula comic book.
Nice. Ooh, that is a stash. I'm
Yeah.
guessing that's a
Hmm.
mustache. Yes.
Yep. Hmm.
That is excellent. So, how was the comic book?
Really good. So every once in a while, I'm like, ah, man, I just keep reading comics and getting disappointed by them, and then it makes
Mhm.
me not want to read another one. But this is book one. They're going to keep going. This is Dracula the Impaler. It starts out by talking a bit about the origins of Dracula and some Bram Stoker and stuff like that. And they go into why they wanted to do this when there's so much Dracula out there already, and because this is two guys that have worked in the comic book industry for a long time, but they've never really worked together. They've always been looking for something to do together. So they came up with this, and I certainly haven't seen this before. This really is like the proper origins of Dracula and how he got like his powers and stuff.
Okay.
And I thought it was really cool. It's a fun take. The art is by Kelly Jones. So
Okay.
it's very stylized, very
Mhm.
colorful. Let me see if I can get a kind of a here's
Okay.
some imagery from
Yeah,
it.
that's pretty cool.
Um, I'm used to Kelly Jones doing some Batman. I've read
Oh,
Batman
sure.
that
Ooh,
he's
I
drawn.
love those faces. Those are creepy.
Hmm. So
Mhm.
they understand the comic book medium. They
Mhm.
use it to great effect here, and
Mhm.
it's well written.
Ooh, sure.
It's got a
That's
fun
cool.
cast of characters. It's unique. I'm very. They don't pull punches. It's gory. There's nudity. They've got lots of beasts and magic and
Ooh,
all kinds of stuff.
the leopard beast. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
So
I like it a lot. Big fan. It's the writer is Matt Wagner, who is
mhm.
known for Grendel. I actually think Matt
Oh,
Wagner
okay.
is the guy that I wrote uh, a letter to as a kid in like middle school. You were supposed to find someone that you wanted to, like, what's a job you'd want to do when you grow up? And I was like,
Sure.
oh, make comic books. And so I found him to write to, asking me for advice or whatever. And he wrote back and stuff. So yeah,
Pretty cool. That's awesome that
yeah.
he wrote back. I love that.
Hmm.
Do you remember what he
Um,
said at all?
I do not, but I probably have the letter.
That's awesome. I
I
like
bet I
that.
do.
Ooh,
So
creepy. That is gory. I like that.
yeah, it's
So
it's
what
good.
is Dracula's origin in this story then? In like a condensed, obviously.
Yeah, so it's like the whole thing of him getting chased out of his home, kind of those type of things that you're familiar with, but then he's like, "How am I going to, reclaim what is mine?" And he
Mm,
basically makes a deal with the devil.
okay.
And so it's learning black magic from Satan.
Okay.
And and so he kinda enters kind of a school environment in a way, like there's certain disciples that
Mm-hmm.
are going to be taught every so often, and it's like the new, um, people that will do Satan's bidding on earth, and, I don't wanna give anything away because I loved being surprised
No,
by what
I
happened
like that
here.
it's classic,
Yeah,
but like you said, it's like a little bit different. Like that's obviously not
yeah,
a Dracula story that people would be like, "Oh, sure, I'm familiar with that." So,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. So, big fan. Book 2 was just funding on Kickstarter.
Okay.
I think that campaign's done now or whatever, but I backed that. So this one came pretty fast. So I'm guessing the next one will as well. And, they're hitting their goal each time. So, you know, they'll, I'm sure there'll be a part 3. I forget how many parts they intend to do, but the next one is called, I think, The Brides or something like that, or
Okay.
something like that. So,
I mean, that would make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Hmm. So, big recommendation there. Very happy to read a great comic. So,
Nice.
and then I watched Batman 89 so I could start the sequel
Oh,
novel.
right.
I just have
Right.
the dust cover here. But
Sure.
I read the prologue and chapter 1, and it's interesting so far. So, um, yeah, excited to keep going there, see how that is.
Nice.
And then I watched V for Vendetta finally on November 5th. It's like,
Oh, you mean finally
remember the 5th of November. I finally
okay, you
watched
mean
it
finally
on
on
the
the
5th.
5th. Okay, not
Yes.
like ever. Okay, okay.
Because I haven't watched it in a long time, and
Yeah, same.
it's because I've been meaning to watch it on the 5th, and it always passes up. It's like, well, I guess I can wait until next year. So, instead of, like, sitting and watching your election results, I just put
Sure,
this on, and,
sure.
it it's a great movie. It's very good.
It
Um
is a good movie. I do feel like it was, you know, one of those really great moments. I mean, it's so classic that, like, Natalie Portman really just went through and, like, committed and got her head shaved. And I feel one of those bars that was set that, like, other people feel they have to do it too, like Anne Hathaway
Mm,
in Les Mis does the same
sure.
thing, you know? It's such a, like, a, oof, that's powerful. 'Cause that's
Mhm.
scary. I can imagine how scary that is. Just,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause it's
I
something you can't hide, you know? It's something you're doing that's like it's like getting a tattoo. It's like I mean, it is reversible eventually, but it's something that's so stark and different and, doesn't just regrow overnight. So,
Yep. Yeah. Oh, I mean, a lot of people watching won't necessarily understand that, but, like, I get it. Like, if I grow my hair, over just the course of a year, that's not from bald. It's still
yeah.
not that long.
Yep. Yep.
So, yeah.
Takes a long
Mhm,
time.
mhm. But no, it's I think that it's a timeless movie,
Mhm.
and I understood it better now than before. When I was young and first saw it, it's like 2005 it came on, I think. it was, you know, it's billed as more of an action movie. Oh, the creators of the Matrix,
Mhm.
and you think action, action. And it's really not, it's sort of there's a mystery to it. And they spend a long time doing a setup for Natalie Portman to
Mhm.
for a big reveal. I
Mhm.
won't spoil it for those. I haven't seen it, but no spoilers for the 2005 movie. But um, I mean, but if you haven't seen it, you should see it without spoilers. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Totally
yep.
agree. Yeah,
Well,
I do remember, like, the first time I saw it feeling a little tricked by the trailer and then, like, getting into this, like, very psychological, like, emotional character drama, and it was
yeah,
like, "Where is, like, fighting? Where is explosions?"
yeah, hmm,
And they happen, but, yeah, you gotta wait a while. It's
yeah,
not like a Three Musketeers style thing or like a Zorro's type thing, which I think they sort of kind of build it as,
yeah.
you know?
Mm, yep, yep. Sour Diesel in the YouTube chat says, "Talking Penguin." We are about to just
Yes.
wrapping up. I was just saying I watched V for Vendetta on the 5th, and it was great. So yeah, that's been my week. I will say as well, the tequila is good, quite
Excellent.
peppery.
Okay.
Um, so
Does it
we'll
say
see
that?
how it evolves. It's no, it does not say anything about tasting notes or anything like that
Okay.
on the bottle. Pretty
Sure.
sparse. So
Okay.
okay, yeah, Penguin. So I'll be getting my fill of Batman this week. We
Mhm.
kind of watched all three, episode 3, 4, and 5 this week. So pretty fresh in my mind.
Mhm.
Had you kind of spaced them out, or did you power through?
I did. So I'd watched 3 and 4 previously, and then I decided to rewatch them again more recently because I felt a little bit disconnected. So I was just like, you know what? As long as I have one more to watch anyway, just gonna like power through it.
Okay. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Did anything change in your perception watching them again, or just like, oh yeah, refresher? Um,
Yeah, I mean, I think I was slightly more I don't know, kind of aware of some things that felt like incongruous in my mind or like things that didn't
okay.
quite make sense that I sort of was like going along with the first time. So there were a few moments where I was like taken out, but it wasn't bad enough to be like, oh geez, like where was the writer here? But it was a little like, I don't quite know if that would, flow that way. So
Interesting. All right. Well, why don't we get into those things? What are those things that were
sure.
incongruent with you?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the some of the arc of these 3 episodes is pretty deeply bent towards, Sophia and her in present time and past time. We have like our third episode where she's finally revealing to Oz like what the plan is. Like what is our drug? What what
Right.
what are we doing with this whole like new trade that we're going to, leave the drops for? Like why did he have to sacrifice his drops operation? Um so, it was a real push and pull where she felt very calm and in charge and like this is my plan, and then there were some like basic things that she just didn't seem to get. Like, hey, I have this whole like operation going, but I need a distributor. Oh, we're going to like the triad for distribution. Why am I not immediately meeting with the head of the triad? It's like you're kind of, I mean, you haven't been on the scene, you have no reputation, like you're just coming back. Also, you think Oz is like upper level that he just has a meeting with the head? Like, I don't know. It was just sort of things like that where,
Hmm.
I think it was like our audience way of getting an introduction to the triad and like Oz's relationships. But also it didn't seem to quite make sense with like, I'm doing all these things, yet I don't know like why I'm not meeting with these players. And
I
it didn't feel to me like the pride. It felt like ignorance.
hmm.
Do you know what I
I
mean? So like it
Yeah,
was
and
just
I
like the tone of the delivery didn't match up to like what I was seeing.
hmm. It- to me that works because there could be an ignorance there, and, like, she was counting on her brother being part of this. Now we know
Mhm.
he was a mess up in a lot of ways, but their
Mhm.
whole plan here and their side, you know, how were they really going to deliver this? Well, did they think,
Yeah.
like, they'd be able to introduce to the head of the family, "Hey," to Luca, "Hey, we got this new thing. Let's do this because it's gonna be great." And then they would, or was it like, "We're gonna kind
Was
of do our own thing
Alberto
and
supposed to
up."
be the head? Like, he's
Yeah.
just gonna do it? Yeah. I
So,
get it. There
so
there
like,
was, like, chaos and plans were upended. I totally get it. But also, like,
mhm,
it felt like a little, like, well, I mean, this is the triad. It's not your family. You're already not really getting respect from your family. Like, why would the
yeah.
triad just be like, "Oh, of course."
Yeah,
So
I assume that she was, like, you know, taking a little bit of a, overselling from Oz. That,
mhm.
like, he has it down and an option for them and has built some sort of respect and a path to go, and then she's a little surprised that, like,
Sure.
"Oh, you don't have this lined up?" Because he's, like, making this up on the spot. He's, like, trying to
Oh,
that's
sure.
he's about the hustle, and he's so good at, like,
Yes.
thinking on the fly and,
Yes.
making it eventually work, and I don't think she's the one to work that way, she's gonna
No.
wanna
No,
so,
clearly from, all of these episodes, she likes the plan. She likes,
yeah.
I'm gonna lay all this out and execute it, even if it's, not something I have to do in the moment. But yeah, it just I don't know why it surprised me because I felt like logically Oz isn't the head. He is a middle guy. Of course he would know another middle guy. Like,
Right.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Mhm.
I mean, he didn't lie about knowing somebody who would take, a meeting with him and like be convinced by whatever Oz was
Yeah.
selling. So, yeah, when he said like I have a line into distro, I just felt like, well, sure, like this would be the path that it would be. Um,
Yep.
and then kind of later in the club when they're out like promoting Bliss and like showing everybody like, hey, and it really is like this awesome thing, and she's sort of putting Oz in his place where she's like, the Dilo is here to see me. And she's suddenly confident
Right.
again. And I was just like, man, you're throwing me for a loop here. Like I'm just not quite catching the character's vibe right now. So
Mm. Yeah, I like the sort of power struggle and, you see it on Oz's face
mhm,
when she does those sort of things, like, it's a gamble. Like, I'm going to put my foot down and step on him a little bit to
mhm,
hopefully gain respect from who I'm dealing with here. But
mhm,
if I can't work through a plan well enough, or if that doesn't work, she clearly took the bet of, like, okay, well, I'm going elsewhere, kind of thing,
right,
walking away, and
right,
so I've appreciated this scramble, the
mhm,
scramble, and I can see I mean, Sophie has become really a character that's super can really empathize with. She's, someone that, I loved. We really got some backstories here. In episode 3 was the
mhm.
whole deal with our little henchman guy, blanking on
Victor,
his
yep.
name, Victor, yep. And then episode 4 was all about Sophia and
Mhm,
how she got to where she is.
mhm.
And so I appreciated those episodes. They're not
Me
leaving
too.
their side characters behind. And um, you know, Victor, oh my, I was swearing at him that whole episode. It, like, firstly, the logical thing, yes, of course, leave, get out, live
Yep.
a straight life, like, be on the up and up. But if you're gonna do that, don't don't tell Oz. Just leave.
Yeah.
You're going across the country, you think he's got time to bother with or the resources to bother with you? No.
Right.
Get out, go, that's it.
Right. The hustle he's in right now. He doesn't have time to distract himself with like,
No.
you know,
Chasing someone down somewhere.
well, right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah, that was yeah. I was frustrated with Victor as well. I think for different reasons. Or I mean, I guess similar in the sense of like I was frustrated with him when he told like Graciela everything. I was like,
Mm,
dude, you gotta not open your
Yeah.
mouth. You're putting her in some serious heat right here.
Mhm.
Um, you know, and I appreciate his desire, like, to connect with somebody from his past finally. He feels finally ready. And, once he's there, it feels like familiar and comforting and he just like lets it out.
Yeah.
Obviously, this has been a high stress environment for
Yep.
him. So I get like kind of like feeling that safety for a moment, but I was like, man, you're playing with some fire here if Oz
Yeah.
finds out that you told her things.
Mhm.
He didn't tell
Yeah.
her every single thing, but he alluded, and she seems smart enough to piece things together from,
Yeah.
things she can see on the news. So yeah, if she wasn't heading out for California, I'd have been like, "You fool."
Yeah.
Because Oz
Mhm.
isn't gonna chase her down for sure. If he wasn't
Mhm.
if we don't think he would chase Victor down, he definitely wouldn't chase Graciela down. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you make you did it change your opinion on Victor or
the episode or his actions?
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, his actions in this episode,
Sure.
his backstory, but then, we kind of had we got his turning point. We got his like, okay, he's
Yeah, his
committed now.
commitment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked his backstory, and I think it was obviously incredibly sad. Well done, kind of emotional connection for the audience, but also to understand like the tragedy of his background and losing his family the way that he did. It also sets us up nicely for him being very reluctant to return to Crown Point, as is Oz for different reasons. But,
Yeah.
having both of them back there by the end of the fifth episode is, for the audience, like a sign that, like, ooh, these are desperate times because this is the place they don't want to be.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so the episode, you know, I think made me frustrated with Victor's wishy-washiness, even though I understood it. There was, hey, this is the reminder. Again, Graciela comes into his life. This is the reminder of my family, how my father was, what he would have wanted for me. The realization this isn't what he would have wanted. So, I get the temptation to take the out. Part of me wishes that he would have taken it. And the other part of me is, he's a great character and I'm happy to see him still on my screen. So, um, yeah. Yeah, it was a tough one. I could have been happy either way. I could have been happy with Victor leaving, getting, free. Because, when he does go back to Oz and tell him, Oz obviously reacts poorly and, pretends that he isn't kind of holding Victor hostage, which you could very much see how Victor thinks that way. Especially,
Yeah.
in our prior episodes where he like threatens him and he's like, "You're in this now, kid." Like
Yeah.
that's a very, you know, formal recognition that like, "Hey, I have leverage to hold over you and I will."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Sour Diesel in the chat on YouTube says, I appreciate how they made Victor a lost soul and a perfect plaything for Oz's manipulation slash
yeah.
narcissistic supply.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
he,
their scene in the restaurant was very sad in a multitude of ways. Obviously, Oz was having a genuine moment where, he wanted to learn about Victor's dad. He seemed genuinely interested. He was trying to say like, "You're a good person. I think your dad would be proud of you." But for Victor, that was like twisting the knife. Like Oz was
mm,
being genuine. He meant it. He wasn't trying to be mocking, but it hurt
yeah,
Victor to hear that because he's like, "My dad wouldn't be proud of this."
yeah. It, it's, to me, it shows how well, again, how well thought out these different characters and relationships are because, yes, he was absolutely manipulated. I'm going to use you because otherwise you're just going to be gone because
Mhm.
you know, your weak point here. But then he also has a kinship. He recognizes himself in
Mhm.
Victor having something that people make fun of you for, coming from not like a fancy background, trying
Mhm.
make it in the world or whatever. He sees, he sees a ton of himself there. And
Mhm.
so as much as things
Wanting
start
more.
off as
Mhm.
like, using you, they evolve to something more. And so then it becomes a thing of, you know, will he still take advantage? You know, Probably, but does he still actually care? Yes.
Yeah.
It's the So it's complicated. And then you can see how Victor is like, yeah, he's lost a family, he's lost purpose, and now you have someone that's complimenting him, giving him purpose.
Mhm.
He's very driven, saying we're going to make something of you and of this, and a kind of replacement father figure here.
Mhm.
And he's at an impressionable age where,
Yep.
right, it still clicks that my father wouldn't be proud of me. You spend a little more time in this and you get convinced, as Oz is, that society is against you and you're going to have to just take things the way you want, and playing fair isn't going to cut it. So you hear that enough and you live in that life enough, you start
Mhm.
believing that.
Mhm.
And it's yeah, so it's a good relationship.
Yeah, it was the whole restaurant scene is so nuanced and, like you said, very complicated because, in kind of like giving his mini tribute to Victor's dad, Oz is saying like, "Hey, he's a mechanic, he had a wife and kids, should have been the American dream." But society doesn't play fair. And it was like, well, on the one hand, like who's to say it wasn't? I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't live anywhere fancy and Victor felt like they didn't have enough, but like if his dad felt like they had enough,
Yeah.
you know, which he seemed to be
Right.
genuinely happy. So, you know, it's hard because I think there's a line of like not recognizing what you have and wanting more, which is something both Oz and Victor have.
Yeah.
And so that sort of like pushes Victor outside the realm of like, you know, I only might do what my father would be proud of. And so that makes it easier, I think, for him to, you know, stick with Oz. But also like you said, he's young and impressionable, and Oz does do some things that like place that burden or that expectation of loyalty on him. Like, I gave you money, I bought you clothes. Like those are
Yeah.
definitely things meant to imply like I gave you, so therefore you should,
Yeah.
like this is like a reciprocal gesture. This isn't just like a generous thing I did. Like you now have to uphold for me what I want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, it takes that presumptive nature of, you start giving people stuff and not asking for anything in return, but
mhm.
yeah, in your head you start to thinking, well, like, hey, I did do all this for you.
Yep, it's
Oz has
transactional. Yep,
right. Oz obviously has the disadvantage of the dysfunctional family. So you can see how it
right.
takes Victor a little longer because he seemed to have a solid family that was together. And
Mhm.
how many kids are out there that, of course, they want more. They don't live in the best neighborhood. They know there are people that make fun of them for where they live or the
Right.
off-brand shoes they have or whatever. And the kids are susceptible to that sort of thing.
Mhm,
And you have to. Then when your parents and family are taken away before you can, you know, evolve past that, yeah, you're stuck in this situation now. Like, yeah, I should have
mhm.
had more. I should have had better at like whatever. And
Right.
yeah, hmm,
Yeah.
good
Good
episode.
episode.
Yeah.
Good episode,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I
We
knew Graciela wasn't meant to last long, but I was sad for Victor in a way to it was closure, I think, for him, but also I was sad for him to be, like, losing somebody else.
Yeah. Yep. And then episode 4, we this was maybe my favorite episode, honestly.
Oh, I
I
loved 4.
absolutely loved Sophia's
Mhm.
background. It was handled
Mhm.
so well.
Mhm.
Again, she gets to flex. They put her in a good situation where, yeah, it's edited in a fashion that, yeah, you'd be freaked out. because you go
Hmm.
from 0 to 60, your life changes on a dime so
Yes.
fast. You realize your father is a murderer, and he's going to frame you for all those murders, and now you're
Mhm.
gone and in prison, like, in the worst prison,
You're
and there's
right.
nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Um, and then you, like, realize that the doctors are paid off in there, and now you're just not going anywhere. Of course, yeah, you create the madman you said, you gaslit long enough,
Right.
pushed long enough, and
Right.
you become the crazy person they suggested you were.
Mhm.
It's really
Yep.
well done.
Oh god, yeah, it was so good. Honestly, yes, this was one of my favorite episodes because I loved the backstory. I felt Kristen Miliotti's performance as like young, naive, innocent Sophia. I felt that like it resonated so much more with me than I think her acting had the previous. And I didn't think she was bad. I know I said like I was worried about it before the show started, and I really did think she did a good job. And I think like here the evolution, she really nailed it. This was just like her big moment to shine, and she took it. It was amazing.
Mhm.
So yeah, so realizing where her trauma comes from, who's responsible, you know, also like what the heck is wrong with her dad? Like, I was sitting there like, why did he kill her mom? Why did he kill all these other girls? He's just like a sicko. Like, did her mom do something? In the next episode, we find out
You
like
find out.
his reason, which
Yeah.
is not a reason enough to kill somebody. But I was kind of wondering about like the whole family dynamics. It was fun to see Alberto again. Again, it
Yeah.
kind of hammered home why he meant so much to Sophia and why she was so obsessed in the beginning, and she's going to be re-obsessed now with
Yeah.
his killer, with avenging him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
I was
good.
like, there's a lot of things Oz can talk himself out of, but once you found out that he killed her brother, that's it.
Yes.
That's
Yep,
it.
yep.
So,
Yeah. Oh, it was good. It was good. I never really believed that she was the hangman, especially um I think it's the second episode where they torture Oz and her bodyguard does everything. I was like,
hmm,
no, she'd be doing it. She would be, you know what I mean? Like if she was the
sure.
hangman, she would be in this. So I never bought that. And so like this episode was like, I feel so vindicated knowing like this is how it went
Mhm.
down. And this is totally logical.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's good. And shout outs to Mark Strong for stepping in
Yes.
to the Falcone head family role there. I
Yeah.
cannot believe it. The original actor in the movie,
John Turturro.
yes, he had the excuse that he didn't come back because of the violence against women that he is not for or a part of. It's like, what are you talking about? Okay, because firstly, this character doesn't on screen perpetuate any violence against women thus far. And there is actual more violence against women in the Batman that he does. It's like slaps his daughter around and stuff like that, like it was a news article
Interesting.
a week or so, comes
Oh,
out
I
and
see
says
it.
why he's part of it.
I see it now. The first article I read was that he had scheduling conflicts, and now
That makes more sense. And that's what I believe. Like the other thing seems like some sort of weird excuse.
yeah. Huh. Yeah, the first thing I saw was scheduling conflicts. So,
Mhm.
I didn't know that, but, regardless, I agree with you. Mark Strong does a great job,
Yep.
and
Yep.
he has a great look as well as a great, like, personality and charisma to play Carmine Falcone. So,
Mhm.
totally good with that recasting.
I feel like if you hadn't watched the Batman in a while and then you watch this, you might not notice. Like the look is close
Yeah,
enough, and he doesn't feel like he's
the
trying to
thinned
overpower with
angles.
some unique
Yeah,
take. It really
right,
feels like he's trying
like a
to
gimmick.
do the job and,
Mhm.
you know, watch the Batman. I'm doing that. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like. I really appreciated that. So it didn't feel like a Dumbledore, you know,
Y
which you know you can appreciate both takes, but it was a major shift. Uh,
Yes, it's hard, it's hard
yeah.
to, yeah,
Mhm.
go from one to the other, and, you know, I think there can be a temptation, especially in something like this, where it's like a TV show, so it doesn't feel like it's okay if I do something, vastly different. Like, this is the TV show. I'm not going to be in the next,
Yeah.
Batman movie. I could do something totally crazy and try to be like extra memorable. And I like that he didn't. I didn't, like I said, I like that it wasn't like there was a gimmick,
Hmm.
there wasn't anything like flashy or weird or just like that's wrong about his performance. So,
And like you called it, he had that presence where he's just like
mhm.
staring. Doesn't have to
Yes.
say anything. It's just the stare, like that
Yes.
you would question me, my
Right.
daughter, like kind of
Oh,
thing. You just feel it.
but then also I loved this, um, when, Sophia does see her mother hanging, which, oof, that was
Yeah.
sad, and traumatic and awful, but then he, like, genuinely rushes in like, "Oh my god, no." Like, he really
Yeah.
cared that she saw it and was like, "Don't look, baby." Like, that felt really genuine, you know?
Was it
Like,
to
he just
protect
did.
himself or was it to protect her? Or maybe both.
I
I don't
think
know.
I think it was both, and I felt the both,
Okay.
like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god, she wasn't supposed to see this, you know, my baby," but also like, "Oh, holy shit, I hope she didn't figure anything out."
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, like, it was such a small it was like 3 seconds on screen, but I felt it, so I really,
Mhm.
yeah, I liked it.
Sour Daniel in the chat says Mark Strong giving the De Niro and Godfather 2. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. And there's a picture of him right here. Perfect.
yep,
Perfect timing. Okay, that was a side. Be interesting if we see him again coming up at all. Just I appreciated that he stepped in and did such a great job. Um, and then yeah, back to Sophia. Like I forgot about the therapist slash her now therapist slash doctor
oh,
that
sure,
was in
yeah,
there that she was kind of forming some sort of thing with
mhm,
that clearly wasn't paid off, wasn't one of the ones paid off.
mhm,
And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it other than just like, wow, I didn't see this coming. Now
mhm,
that now that we know this is what happens, it may happen. It made perfect sense. And that like setting up for her revenge against yeah everyone that just went along with this,
mhm,
and you get
mhm,
I guess how that happens in this sort of mob family scenario,
mhm,
but it's still horrible and uh, depressing nonetheless. That
mhm,
all of your families just yep throw you under the bus, let them torture you. I don't know. It was
yep,
good and it was scary. The way that some of the music beats in this were good. She's getting like
mhm.
scrubbed down and stuff. It
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's just good. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. The whole episode had me very very enthralled, and I was very excited that this is the path that her story took.
So, I do have to say, like, on a second watch, a couple of things, just a couple of questions.
You got to
Like,
bring
the
down my
episode
high, Andrea.
I do, I'm sorry, apparently it's what I do. Um, so one thing was the beginning. I was a little surprised at the Maronis not finishing the job. They came there, they had Oz and Sophia at gunpoint. Victor gets in the car and surprise saves the day, even though I saw it coming the second he was like driving back. I was like, Victor's gonna smash in here and kill somebody.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, then they just fled, even though it was clear there was like no other backup there, nothing else. They really could have finished Sophia off. I mean, I know
Mm,
Oz got away, but like there was ample time. She was alone, bleeding just kind of in the back of a club. There were no police sirens, I heard. She had time to make a phone call. Nobody came out to investigate. I was just like a little like,
sure.
I don't know. I'm surprised that the Maronis panicked so quickly. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, so one of the person that was hit was a henchman,
was it, yeah,
one of
was a
the guys.
bodyguard
Yeah.
or maybe a
So
cousin or, like not
yeah.
immediate family.
Then you had the matriarch and one other person. So, like, maybe,
Think.
I'm 'cause if it was that scenario, I can imagine being like, "I have to get her out of here because maybe there is something else.
Sure.
Maybe this car that pulls up here has 2 other dudes in it and they come out with Uzis."
Sure.
Um, I don't know what's going through the head, but I can
Yeah.
see that if it was someone that was used to this and calm, cool, and collected about it, 'cause assess the situation better,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But then you also
Yeah.
see that she got injured, like, y I don't know if it's, maybe they're attacking her, like, we really don't know who this is. Did they flee before Oz even got in? I mean, I could probably see it's his car.
Yeah.
I don't know, I chalk it up to the chaos of the situation, but I get what you're saying
Sure.
that, like,
Yeah,
if
it
there was a
just
more collected vision of the situation,
right.
you definitely could've.
Right. Like you said, maybe she was left with a more inexperienced bodyguard after, guys got killed. Because obviously the one gets run over, and I think Oz at least kills one other one, if not another. But yeah, it felt like they had the confidence to roll up on Sophia and Oz basically in their own club. And
Yeah,
it just felt a
yeah,
little weird to me. It felt like a little like that was a missed opportunity. Um
sure.
and then the second one was the toast. Like, I loved it. It was creepy. It was clear, like,
Okay.
Sophia was coming into her own, but the family just really let her talk. And I a
Mm,
little bit was like, Luca really didn't put any of that down. Or like when Johnny tried to, and she was like, I'm gonna talk. And they were all just like, yeah, okay. Again, for
yeah.
somebody who like doesn't have the power, hasn't shown she's going to do anything. It kinda gave me weird vibe, like, it I don't know. It gave
I
me weird
can
vibe that,
to
like, I know what the setup was, I know why now, of course, like, having a second watch, like, I knew what it was building up to, but it did feel weird in the moment, or, like, when the wife wanted to leave with the daughter, and she was like, "Sit down."
Yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
was again, what was she gonna do? Like, the whole family was there and against her. Like, she coulda left, and Sophia wouldn't have done crap about it.
I Yes, I kind of thought of this in the moment as well.
Okay.
Before, when thinking everyone knows she's the hangman, I think it would make more sense because people are kind of scared of her.
Right,
But
but now it
now that
doesn't.
we know that they all just set her up and went along with it,
Right.
it doesn't work as well that way.
Right.
Um,
Like, I know
I
I
took
know, again, she's changed from Arkham, and I think they're all a little bit wary of, like, her mental state-ish,
Yes.
but again, like, it's less scary knowing she hasn't done anything.
I could totally see a version of this where she tries to give a thing, someone says that's enough, and Luca just shuts it down. Like,
Yeah,
just enough. Like, that I could totally see that being a logical thing. I took it as like, okay, she's coming here, she's a little unhinged. There's probably in some of them, some guilt as to what's happened to her, what they've been a
sure.
party and contributing to. And so, like, what doesn't she's I think she says, like, "I'll be gone, tomorrow," or
Yeah.
something. So it's like, to have your peace,
Mhm.
whatever, and then we'll move on. It's like, that's the way I ended up reading it. Because, yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Totally could have just been the other way, like, "Shut up, woman, get out of here. You're leaving tomorrow. You don't have anything worthy to say. You're not part of this
Mm.
family anymore. Done." Whatever.
Yeah,
Escorted out. It could have totally
yeah.
been that. But at the same time, you could have been like, "Well, look, we're a little guilty. We're a lot guilty. We know it. She is family. Whatever you wanna say, have your peace. This is
Mhm.
your final goodbye."
And that's eventually how I felt like I had to read it, but it
Yeah.
still kinda, like, just tickled my brain a little bit where it was like that nagging, like, it's just they have shut her down before, so it just feels a little, um,
Mhm.
it just feels a little off that they would here let her have her peace. But yes, it wasn't again so egregious that I couldn't. eventually get to some sort of explanation in my mind. Um,
Mhm.
and I do remember the first time I watched it, I wasn't sure if she was going to murder them all because I had a sneaking suspicion, or if she was gonna murder the little girl, honestly. Like, I couldn't tell if she
Mm.
was gonna try to, like, stick it at them that
Just
way.
she's just
Yeah,
gonna go in for her stereotype now.
yeah,
Just gonna
yeah.
go all in.
Like, I'm gonna fulfill who I'm supposed to be. So,
Mhm.
I was glad that everybody else was the target and, her niece got away. Um,
Yeah.
and then the last thing, and this is super, super minor. Did you ever see her take the candy at Arkham? I don't remember seeing it, and I've
No,
watched it twice
they
now.
didn't get to that. They didn't get to that part. Nope.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
wondering if they'll show that yet or not, but she clearly
Yeah,
was, like, analyzing her neighbor, like,
totally.
look what this is doing." She's like, "This is really putting you into a state." But
Yes,
I think she talked about it that being, like, understanding the feeling because she was put
yes.
on it and put it so,
So, yeah,
yeah,
I was waiting for that, a
I
little
think
bit,
it's
and then, like, they never showed it.
after right. After her all her treatment and all sort of thing, because then the neighbor said, like, "Oh, now you get the
Right.
candy,"
Mhm.
and just beat her over the head and
Yes.
and ended her, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I on the one hand, I would have really been interested to see that and sort of, like, see her realization and getting to, like, the Bliss could be, which is a great name, Bliss. This could be our new thing, and, this is what I'll bring when I'm on the outside. But also, like, I could see where they don't wanna get in a slippery slope of, like, she's like Alberto who, is hooked on their own product and, like, totally a
Mm,
partier and, alcoholic and all of that. So, like, they wanna draw some, like, distinctions between that. So,
mm.
I get it, but yeah, I was just sort of waiting for that and wanted to make triply sure I hadn't missed it.
Yeah. We should totally make a cocktail for the next episode called Bliss.
Bliss,
Invent one,
yes.
it's got, like, nice
Blood
red
red,
drops in it,
yes.
yeah, mhm,
Yep.
mhm. Gotta use some sort of, like, get some umami-ness in there for the mushroom element.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, it gets
Also,
fancy. A little
I
smoke.
I cracked up when she was showing Oz, like, these mushrooms, and he's, you know, gonna touch one, and they're like, "Don't touch it! The whole colony could go," and then she just, like, picks one up. I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
yeah. No, I noticed that too. I'm just figuring, like, it's kinda like if you have a kid in a
You know what you're doing, and he doesn't. I
yeah,
totally get it, but it was
yeah.
funny.
Yeah, and then episode 5, what do you think of, you know, Sophia's whole I mean, obviously, we have a lot of cool stuff. She's keeping what's his face, Johnny, torturing him, the sort of
Mhm,
thing. So, a
mhm.
couple questions. One, do you think that she was ever intending to actually keep him as sort of a partner, or was he just to get everybody at the table and be a show of
Yes.
power? Okay,
Second
latter.
option,
Mhm,
fully 100%.
okay. Because how
I
could
think
you
she's
really actually trust him?
Yeah, she's learned her lesson. I think she's too recently burned by Oz to feel any sort of, like, you know, I could take a chance and maybe do it. Like, there's no corner here anymore, There's
Mhm,
just, um yeah, gotta get rid of him. He is untrustworthy, and, using him to make a point is the most effective way he can die. I didn't see it coming quite like that, although I
right.
think like I said in my notes, I knew he was making a mistake interrupting her speech and trying to, like, settle her
Yeah.
down. I was like, "Ooh," and then she just shot him, and I was like, "Dang!" Didn't see it coming, but it was so effective and so good. Um,
Yep.
and it really signaled, like, full new Sophia,
Yeah.
who I'm really enjoying. I think the Sophia of the first couple episodes was kind of like a middle ground between, like, the innocent and, now, like, the full-fledged, like,
Mm,
I am the head of the family. And I find Kristen Miliotti's performance more compelling in the extreme than I do the middle.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought yeah, the shooting element there was good. The torture was good before that.
Mhm.
Um,
It's
the
great.
kind of speech she gave, seemed effective. I liked her interaction with the police chief, actually,
Mhm.
when he came to the house, and it was sort of this confrontational. You're here, you're gonna celebrate later with your buddies, kind of
Oof, yeah.
thing. I kind of liked that whole dynamic because again, like Gotham is so corrupt. Like they know, there's good ones around, good police officers and stuff, but they're so messed up. You don't know they know more than they can charge you for, and I don't know, it's just a complicated dynamic between the crime families and the police, and,
Mhm.
this was kind of an interesting part of it. Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I liked it.
Yeah, it was really like you said, it really highlighted that relationship because, she's like, "Oh, are you gonna sell these pictures because 'cause you're not getting any kickbacks anymore?" And it's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah."
Yep.
And
Mhm.
yeah, and it still didn't really reveal who the police chief was, if he was like a straight shooter or if he was just like, you know,
Right.
taking bribes and he was doing the things she was saying he was doing. He clearly didn't seem to care about her and feel like she needed to be treated as an ordinary citizen, but that doesn't also
Right.
mean that, he's um like crooked per se.
Yeah. I need to go back, watch it hopefully sometime again soon, but, he looked familiar, and I was wondering if he was in the Batman.
Mm, mm,
Like,
sure.
I've been seeing people say
Alan?
online I was seeing people say online where this goes, like, that they think it's going to hurt the show if Batman doesn't show up. Um, in the sense that, like, things are getting so out of hands, like, why would
Oh,
Batman not
oh,
be involved?
sure,
Um, well, unless they're pulling a big switcheroo on us, it has been stated clearly before the show came out that Batman will not be in this.
sure.
And, so wherever it goes, whatever happens there, but
He
the point is
he
there
is
that
the
I
stick
think that
man.
a big crime family being
Sorry,
murdered
Alan
like
found
this
him. He's in the
would
Batman.
would he is, okay, yeah, I was say it would I think it would call to we seeing some major police officers. If you got the police chief here, we should he should be in the Batman,
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah. Um, Sour Diesel says, "What are your thoughts and theories on Julian Rush?" So, yeah, we briefly touched on the therapist.
Mhm.
Um, and he is like, "I'm in now," you know, and my comment was, "Simp, yeah, you'd like to release with her."
Yes.
He's very like he did from the beginning in Arkham. She brings it up. I could see the way you look at me.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, that creates an interesting thing. Like, how far will he go? But when is he? I don't know. He's a strange character. Do you have any thoughts on him?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I felt like it was very clear from the beginning, when he's, like, with her and they're doing the therapy sessions and she's having a panic attack and he's, holding her. I
Yeah,
really felt like there was sexual interest from the beginning.
yeah,
So, um, yeah, I do feel that he is attracted to her. I'm not really sure as to the why exactly. I mean, I think he feels compassion for her and her situation. But I don't know exactly what makes him do this like flip here into, I'm just gonna sort of abandon, what I thought was my profession and my moral code and my ethics as, someone working with people who are mentally unstable or suffering from mental illness and just like be a criminal and watch people get murdered. It did feel odd. Um, so yeah, so I'm not quite sure what to make of that yet.
yeah. I
I
mean, you could
mean,
obviously go through a lot, it'd be a lot of emotions if you're the person there that can see that this person is being mistreated and
right. And
shouldn't
you're
be,
not the one being bribed and like you
and there's
see that
nothing you can do about it, and you're
right.
physically attracted to her, and, like, a guilt for sure would build up. And how does can you it doesn't feel like he's repaying guilt, but
Yes.
there's an element to that.
Right, and so, like, the therapy sessions I felt like were repaying a guilt, or, like, I'm helping you because I
Yeah,
am part of what caused
part
your
of it.
damage. But yes,
Right.
I'm not sure how I feel about the, like, I'll just stand by you as you become head of the family.
Yeah,
I'm not there.
yeah,
It wasn't enough to be like, I'm totally out of it, but it wasn't convincing. There was no
yeah,
good reason for it. Um, I do like that it is yet to be, I think, potentially, or yet that we've to see be consummated or like fulfilled in it, like the sort of like sexual attraction or
yeah,
romantic chemistry, whatever you want to label it. It's yet unfulfilled as far as we are aware. I do like that. I think it would make sense for Sophia's character to just like jump in a relationship. I was watching part of the like post episode where they were saying like she's now Sophia Gigante. She's reclaiming her mother's name in the comics. It's because she marries somebody. It would be weird for her in this show to just marry somebody, especially
yep,
of her like, I've been badly mistreated by a lot of the men in my life. So I,
mhm,
I like the shift that this show is going, and I actually like that we really haven't seen a whole lot of like sex in this show.
mm. I
Do you know what I
mean, I
mean?
like seeing
We
sex, but it has to make sense.
Exactly. This show, it hasn't made there's been no opportunities I really think that it's made
No.
sense. And so, we've seen romantic interactions, but there's been no like full kind of like sexy time. And I think that that makes a lot of sense in the show.
I
So we'll
think the
see. We'll
only
see where this relationship
opportunity
goes.
I think the only opportunity for that would have been with Victor and one of the women kinda help pass out the new drug and stuff, bliss and everything.
Sure.
Him being naive and, like, getting caught up in something like that, I could see something happening there. But
Sure.
it would be an aside that wouldn't actually make a difference because he's not really with anyone, so it wouldn't be some other drama. It would pull us into some other way that's not gonna be
Yeah.
meaningful. Um,
I also
then
like, did you for any moment get a vibe that like Sophia and Maroni, since we're in here, could like be a thing? Not in like a real
uh,
relationship kinda sense, but, like, when she talks about, like, uniting, I was like, "Do you
Sal?
wanna, like" Yeah. Not like a r again, not a real
But just,
relationship,
like,
but,
to
like
join the families,
yeah, yeah. Do
like a
you do
king
you
and
feel like
queen?
yeah. Do you feel like that could be, like, a thing, and he would be like, "I don't really wanna, like, touch you," because he clearly loves his now deceased
I
wife,
I didn't get that
and the
sense,
and
and
the
I
and the
don't,
therapist would be, like, her piece on the side?
um,
I don't know, it just, like,
well,
flashed in my head when they were
yeah,
talking about, like, uniting.
I'll address those 2 things here in a second. Sour Daniel says there was a promotional newspaper for Penguin with a section saying Batman has been missing for weeks. So,
Huh.
maybe this is an element that we'll explore in Batman Part 2,
Sure, I mean,
as well.
I would definitely think he was clearly traumatized after the events of the first movie, like, leaving the arena. There was a lot going on for him, I think,
Yeah.
emotionally. So it would make sense that he would, like, need a beat, or
Yeah.
something could could have actually happened to him.
Yeah, e right. He was
Either one is very
I mean,
logical in my brain.
not to get too sidetracked with an analysis of the Batman, but
Sure.
I will say, like, the first movie is very, they talk about him being very singularly focused, vengeance driven sort of thing. And then kind of understanding he can, by the end, that he can be more, and this can be more selfless. And there's more at stake than like me satisfying my need for vengeance and like some sort of um and so like I would be interested if there is in part two we get to see like um I love it at the end of Batman Forever. It's like Bruce Wayne says, "Now I'm not just Batman because I have to be, but because I choose to be." And
Yeah.
so it's a settling of the what thing that sometimes it gets too much of like do I got to be a slave to doing this because of my parents and I can never have a life and all this sort of
Mhm.
thing
Mhm.
versus like a squaring up of, look, I can make a difference here. I can do something. I choose to do this with my life. I do not have to do it. I am not slave to the past, or my parents' memories aren't forsaken if I don't. I'm going
Right.
forward with this because I want a better city and I can help.
Mhm.
So if he needs a moment to like find that or reflect or something, he's on sabbatical. Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know. I'm okay with it. So,
Yeah, I completely agree. Like that's something that I genuinely would find, like I said, logical after the events of the first movie. I think kind of like reconciling both what happened and where his path could lead him. That's like a dense emotional and mental journey that he could need a beat for.
yeah.
So whether the missingness is voluntary or we're going to find out that, like, again, like I said, something has happened,
Mhm.
given the differentness of kind of the villains in the Batman and their capabilities and like what they're after, perhaps, something happened. I would be fine either way, and I would find it logical either way.
Yep.
So yeah, so I don't find it weird that Batman isn't here.
Yep. It's a bit, if nothing else, it's a giant city. Superman can hear the tone of someone crying from across, wherever. That's not Batman, and yes, he monitors all the, whatever, but you're still one person, and um yeah, there's plenty of, I
Mm,
think they can come up with plenty of logical excuses.
mhm.
Um yeah. Um Sartor Diesel said that's a good point. He could be leaning more into his philanthropic side with Bella Real or Real. I think I'm forget which way it says it. They say real change, but is it real? I think aid,
Yeah.
emergency aid, etc. Yeah, I could be a thing like maybe I can do more this way. I appreciate that as well when they have that take in Batman, as opposed to like I'm gonna pretend to be a playboy and I don't want anything to do with my family's business and all this sort of thing. I've talked about this before, as you know. But if you would embrace, like, yeah, I'm gonna be a part of running this. I'm gonna, open up my own charities. I'm gonna take other routes to helping the city here, even though it
Yeah.
didn't work out for my parents in the end.
Mhm.
They were killed early, so let's give it another go. So,
Yeah, I think there's a lot of facets. We kind of forget that Bruce Wayne doesn't have to be one-dimensional. He can be good when played that way too. Like,
mhm,
there's obviously a lot of, I think, leaning into the practicalities of Bruce Wayne as a playboy in like Christian Bale's portrayal. There's a
mm,
lot of like, this is a great cover. These are a lot of excuses for why X happens, or like, why I'm throwing like some sort of charity thing, but I'm not really here a lot because I'm a party boy, but like I don't have to be in the middle of it. So,
yeah,
like if it's for charity, I'm not really that interested. So I just like fade in the background, like go be Batman. So like there's that aspect. But then also when you think about like Val Kilmer's Bruce Wayne, there's a lot of charity work that they constantly reference that he's going to. He is very involved in the business and like in a very honest and genuine way.
yep.
So there's different facets of Bruce Wayne, so we can be exploring different things. So yeah, like you're saying, if Robert Pattinson's, thinking like I can just, be Bruce Wayne doing, you know, charity work and
Yeah,
boots on the ground kind of fashion, that works too.
yeah, yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see where that goes. I wanted to get back to you had questions. If I can remember what they were now,
Oh
I
gosh,
meant
I
to
don't
get
even
back to
remember what
them
they were.
faster. We were talking about the therapist, unsure, saying it's like wouldn't
Oh
make.
yeah,
Oh, you were
yeah. So
asking about Sal and
yes,
like the
I
joining
was
there
wondering
for
about
that.
their alliance. Yes, like what it was going to be. Is it literally just going to be like, are we going to partner it up, or is she truly looking for like, I want to unite the Maronis and now the Gigantes, and do
Yeah,
this sort of like marriage of convenience type of thing? to really seal the deal, and like the therapist is maybe going to be like a side piece.
Yeah. I don't it, it's- I don't know. I'm excited by it because there's a lot of ways it could go. The therapist could be a real weak point. Is she betrayed again by another person here in her life?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because she doesn't reciprocate or put out in the way this simp is eventually expecting. Does he have other ulterior motives that were like this is his play and this is his, facade and there's actually more to it?
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I don't sense any sort of like marriage of convenience with Sal. I really don't know where they're gonna go with this. To me, it seems like a mistake. Like maybe they just don't understand that Oz is quite on the outs like he is, because it seems, I mean, look, he's making major moves, he's killed major members of the family, paying people off to take a stab at Sal. Um, so maybe it's like, yeah, we'll team up because that's my threat and that's what I need to focus on. But is it gonna work? Is that gonna work?
Yeah.
The team up? Who's really in charge here?
Right.
Obviously, he has seniority and more experience in this. Is this what she's gonna wanna be a part of? Now that she has a chance to, like, I have my henchmen and I've just gained some loyalty there, had a show of force, do I wanna go and be potentially second fiddle to someone else? I don't know. I don't know where they're
Right.
gonna go with this, and it seems a very interesting decision to me that wouldn't be necessary. So
Sure.
you can
Well,
look at like the Maronis as being weakened now. We have the chance to come on, on the rise here. We're going to deal with Oz, and then we're golden.
sure. Well, and I think also the other question for me here is Oz seems to have bliss now. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
he has
Mhm.
all the organic material to
Yes.
reproduce bliss. So has she lost it, and is she truly giving up on it in just like I just want to go after Oz, or do I want to go after Oz, get my revenge and get like, this drug back, or do I want to team up with the Maronis and be like, forget bliss, like we're going to reclaim drops for now, build up some
Right.
cash, build up an empire and then add bliss to it. Like that's another piece for me because Maroney's have taken over drops. Is she looking to get that back and build up some cash, build up some loyalty to the new family, um, reward them like she said she's going to? So that's I
Mhm.
think a piece of it for me is in that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Yeah. Can they get more? I mean, this came from
Right.
Arkham.
Hmm.
Uh, do they have an in that way?
Ooh,
I don't remember.
is the therapist going back? Is she gonna send
Yeah.
him back in
Is
there?
right. That could be something like that.
That could be
Yeah.
a
To get
story.
SR. Hmm. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep, prove you're
Yeah. He
really
could
trying
get.
to make amends.
Yeah. That's true.
Just saying.
I don't know.
Just
I like uh I also love how this ended. I mean, again, it's very sad. Oz's mother, all this sort of thing. They're in a bad
mhm.
spot. I I love that Penguin's in the sewer.
Yes.
In this,
I love
it's
the
like
set. I
underground,
love the
you
set.
know?
Yes. No, it's
Yeah.
so perfect. Yeah. That
So
was great.
that's
I
fun.
really love that too. I made a note of that the setting now going back not only to, Crown Point, but also like getting in the trolley tunnels.
Yep.
It's gonna be
Alan
fun
says
there.
near the zoo.
Near the zoo. Well, that's obviously gonna
We're
be
gonna
a
see
thing.
penguins. They're
Yep,
gonna have an
we
army of
are,
penguins that are remote controlled. Yep.
obviously.
Yeah.
No, there
Uh,
I mean, there is gonna be, like, a visual of a penguin at some point. It's gonna be a funny thing.
mhm. Sour Diesel says there's also back to the Batman here. There's also the fallout
Hmm,
from Wayne family expose. Plenty on Bruce's hands to keep him distracted. Yeah, that's true. Could be trying to reclaim, in a sense, the Wayne name.
yep,
'Cause
revamp it.
remember how that exactly all went, but it's like it's yeah, ended up being um, tie-ins with um, uh, the mob family.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else we gotta say about these episodes? My notes were kind of short, you know.
Yeah, they really
I,
were.
yours aren't that long either. Yours are not as long as normal.
That is true, that
You
is true. I was very deliberate about that. I was trying to, like, keep it a little, like, tighter because sometimes I can get
okay?
really, really rambly. Um, but yeah, I think the only other thing is, like, I made some notes kind of about Oz's own, like, psyche. We did get to see some good things about Oz in these episodes, but we got to see some real shitty sides to him too. Like, we see that he admits he betrayed Sophia and he did it for himself. It kind of doesn't end up mattering, I think, what the consequence is. Like, he knew Carmine enough to know that there was going to be consequences. So he knew that he wasn't I think he knew enough when he went to Carmine that he wasn't going to react like Sal Maroni is like, I would have, ripped out that guy's tongue and left him for dead. Like,
Hmm.
he knew something was going to happen to Sophia. So we see that, and we see that kind of like, apology, and then immediate like, oh, leave her there. So I mean, I know he's like a self-interested guy, and like that's been very clear, but we do just see kind of like the shittier aspects of that as well.
Hmm.
Um, we see him not really understanding his relationship to other people sometimes, in the sense of like, he says like, "Oh, I got to clean up messes all the time." He's like, "Well, you kind of create a bunch of those messes with your like live in the moment, promise people shit and see if I can deliver later
Hmm.
kind of scenarios. You're double dealing." Um,
Hmm.
we see obviously like he doesn't really think about like the psychological leverage he's holding over Victor and the way that he's like manipulating that relationship, the way that he's manipulating his relationship with Eve. His girlfriend, I think, is the term you would use. I mean, they're in a
Again,
relationship. I'm not
transactional.
exactly
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not exactly sure what to call it, but, when he's like, "Oh, I thought we were in this together," but he's been, like, making all the calls, and she keeps saying, like, "This isn't what I want. What are you doing? You're putting me in real danger." So, yeah, so there's a lot going on with Oz in these episodes, even though I think a lot of the focus is elsewhere for a good chunk of it.
Yep. Yep.
Also, I'm sorry, one last thing. I did not buy. This is the one thing I truly just didn't it just didn't work for me at all. The burning. It didn't
Hmm.
it happens so fast. It's too fast. It's like
Test it
it's
out,
like
Andrea. I don't know.
it's like
I don't know what to
15
say.
seconds. It's like 15 seconds maximum, and 2 people
You
are
mean,
dead from burns.
well, okay, they could have showed them screaming longer. Is that what you wanted, Andrea?
No,
You
but,
wanted
like,
them screaming in agony for longer
no,
on
you could have
screen?
done a cutscene. You know what I mean? Given the impression that, like, time. Do you know what I mean? There's definitely a way to, like, not I don't want them to, like, just be burning on my screen for 15 minutes.
Be like
But you know what I'm
Shogun, the guy just, like, burning in the
oof, right? But yeah, no, it felt a little it felt a little weird. Like, he's
Hmm.
soaking wet, like, she's all like, "What did you do to him? What's going on?" She sees the flame coming, and she's like, "Oh, no." And yet she still just, like, burns in, like, 5 seconds, you know? Like, she goes to hug him, she doesn't smell anything, like, what was this mystery substance that she wasn't like, "This is weird." I don't know, it didn't again, it was one of those things where I was like, "I have a lot of questions right now," and then the fact that they burnt to death seemingly so, so, so quickly. It really just didn't
Well,
make sense to me.
if I ever get to talk to the writers, I'll be like, "My friend Andrea, she just wanted to hear the
Please.
screaming longer, so it's more believable."
Uh, really draw out that agony, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
I
I'm sorry, I don't really know what would have been better about it, but it did not feel really that plausible to me.
The one thing that I thought about it watching it was, okay, it's probably, some sort of lighter fluid. or you know, I don't know. It could be any number of flammable
But that
liquids,
she
and
wouldn't
you'd
have
smell
smelled
it.
it?
Yeah, you see, and so that's why I was like, you'd immediately as he's approaching and you see him wet and shaking, you'd be like, you'd smell it. Like, I don't know what you'd do exactly. Probably
But you'd
run.
have some sort of sense when you know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd have to try to run, I guess, because they took off his shirt and stuff, so he can't take off something to put, that's on fire. There's no protection there,
Right,
and and then it'd be pretty. It's heartless in a sense if the mother just like don't touch me and step away because I'm gonna burn. Clear this was gonna happen. I'm gonna burn as well. Um,
right, but,
so I don't know
like,
what you do. You have to like try to like she has to try to take her own like jacket off and like smother the flames out or something, so you step
yeah?
back and try to,
Well,
some other reaction.
well, there's a moment where she does get to, like, hug him before Oz, like, put so, like, I feel like there's enough moment to, like, get him out of the path. You smell it, you're hugging what the fuck, like, you see him, she clearly says, like, "Oh my god." She sees it coming. So, there's just enough to be like, that I found that really weird that they both burned so quickly, especially the mom, because she
Sure.
does hug him. So, of course, she does, the implication is that she has whatever this fluid is on her, but it's so much less, but yet she burns just as quickly. So it just felt like a little like,
Was she
really?
wearing a
Or
big
both?
fur coat?
She was
Might have just
not.
gone up.
No,
Okay.
no, that's Sophia's thing, and she looks great in those fur
Yeah.
coats, by the way. But,
Um,
or faux fur. But no, she's wearing like a smooth, you know, like
okay.
white coat. So yeah, so it just felt weird that they both, like I said, burned
Maybe
so
it could
quickly.
have been fixed in editing. All they need is like all they need is like an extra shot of like her going to hug him and being like, like looking at her hands, like, what is this? Noticing that there's the
Right.
smell and this,
But
and it's
he's
not
already
just
on fire and she's
water.
already on fire before, like she gets to even say anything.
Yeah.
Like I think the wrong move was to have her like see it coming, and
And then
have
stay
time to like,
embracing him in a way or something, Yeah. Where she should have stepped apart
yeah.
and I don't know. Needed to step away and grab that tarp that was covering on the other truck and
Yeah, covering the
cover
shrooms,
him with.
yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've never been almost burnt alive like that, so I don't know.
Me neither. I feel like a lot of the times, in very tragic circumstances when, people are trapped, or, in a large blaze, they do say that like smoke inhalation is what like often
Yeah.
kills you, and this just didn't seem to be that sort of scenario. It
It
was
might
like,
be, yeah, I could
we
see
just
them running
burned,
around desperately trying to
right?
like, whatever for a
Right, it
while.
was. They were set on fire and then they just sort of like
It just
folded
kinda
into each
collapsed.
other, and that's what was weird to me. It just, there was no struggle, they just died.
Yep. Well, it doesn't bother me too much because I can imagine a few different scenarios where they could have made it more to your liking. And like the same thing occurred, the same story element happened. They were
Mhm.
burned alive. Just needed a few more beats to make that
Yeah, it
how it
just,
played out plot more plausible.
exactly, exactly. It like I said, it isn't the death, the circumstances that bothered me, it was just like the way it played out felt implausible.
Mhm.
Um, I also think it would have been, I think, a little more true to the show to have it not work as Oz envisioned it.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I think it's a little bit more
sure.
plausible to, like, not have Oz's plan go, given the fact that so many of his other plans don't quite work out as he intends. I think it would have been, like,
But this doesn't
different.
because the smoke, the thing, whatever for the fire,
Yes, the thing,
it
like, comes
destroys
out.
most of the mushrooms.
Well,
It
no, I
destroys
know,
most.
but, like, but his plan was obviously to kill them both. I think,
Yeah.
having that come in even earlier and also mess with his plan to, like, kill them, and then, like, he's gotta finish it.
You wanted
through
a
machine gun
revenge
fire
of
or
the Storm
something.
Anakin moment, didn't you? You're like, there's missing limbs and they're crawling and like, "I hate you." And then
Yes.
he
For the mom, at least, I
Mhm,
felt like she earned that, and also, like, again, it would've been more plausible for him to be like, "Ah, crap." Like, it didn't work out, but, like, he still I think it works out, obviously, for the show and the plot lines, and it's better for the audience that, like, Sal Maroni now has a reason to team up with Sophia and go after Oz.
mhm.
It's much more suspenseful. Obviously, for us, it's like, "Oh my gosh, they're really coming for him." But I think the plan to, kill his wife and his son could have been a little bit more chaotic and realistic.
Oz has to have wins because otherwise he's not gonna get to the
But
top
it
ever.
but it is a win. It would still be a win because his goal would be achieved. I'm not saying, like, I
Yeah,
think they should have lived. I
yeah,
just think it should have been messier and
yeah,
more chaotic, and then, we'd still have, like, "Oh my god, I only have 2 buckets of the mushrooms,"
yep,
all of that could have been all the same.
yep. He's got a big, curb stomping boot there with his, like, brace, so,
Mhm,
you know, make it real dirty.
mhm.
Okay, alright, well, now that Andrea's, taking all the fun out of it, uh
It's my
uh,
MO tonight, apparently. I don't know what
yeah,
it is,
yeah,
but yeah, no, I mean, it's not to say that these weren't great episodes and I wasn't, glued to the screen, because I was, and they were. There were just like some things again that I kind of noticed that I thought could
yep,
use some tidying up.
yep. Cool. Well, yeah, I'm very excited to continue.
Mhm.
We've
Same.
got, I think everything except for the finale is available now. So we have
Yeah,
6
6
and
and 7.
7 that
Mhm.
we can watch straight away, and then yeah, this weekend I suppose the last one. So be if we want to do another episode right here of the next couple Penguin episodes, or if we want to wait a week and cover Terminator like we were talking about on the anime
Mhm.
podcast. So we have choices there. But yeah,
Indeed.
I want to thank very much Sour Diesel for being in the chat and contributing. And brought up some good points and stayed
Good
on topic
questions.
nicely. Yeah. So very good. If you're interested, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, all those sorts of things. We were typically every week or every other week at least, rotating with the anime podcast, Ohio Anime. And you'll find those live streams on this same YouTube channel, same Twitch channel, all that sort of thing. And so, yeah, that'll do it from us. We'll be back soon. Andrea, thanks for joining me as always. And yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.